Demonstration Nugget, getting started with Google Cloud SQL. Hello everybody, this is Ben Finkel, and in this nugget, we're going to walk through step by step what you need to do to get started with the Google Cloud SQL product. We're going to go ahead and create a new Google account, set up a new project inside the developer's console, enable billing on that project. We're going to apply some credits so that we have some money to start playing around with when we spin up these Cloud SQL instances. And then we're going to go ahead and look at some different ways to interface with Google Cloud SQL, and that includes the developer's console, the web UI that we can use to spin up and shut down instances, as well as the command line interface, and use the APIs Explorer to see how the RESTful API works. So the first thing you're going to do is open up your web browser and go to cloud.google.com. From here, you're going to sign into the Google account that you want to use to build your SQL instances under. I'm already signed into an account, and you may be as well. Once you've signed in, you're simply going to click Go to My Console. From here, you're brought to the developer's console in the main page where you can manage your projects and your billing. The first thing I want to do is set up a new billing account. Go over to billing on the left hand side, select new billing account. I'm going to give it a name. I'll call it GSQL billing. Continue. And I'm going to fill out all of the information that I need to fill out in order to set up an active billing profile on this project. Once you click submit, give it a few minutes, be patient to set up the billing profile. Now I have a billing account called GSQL billing that I can use to attach to the new project that I'm going to make. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and redeem my starter pack credits as well. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab, and I'm going to go to cloud.google.com WAC starter pack. And once I'm here, I'm going to use this apply now button down here to get my $500 in Google Cloud Platform credit. Going to click this. All you need to remember is to fill out GCP-nuggets here for your promo code. That's the promo code that's going to get you your $500 in credit. Fill out the rest of the information and click submit down here. Once you've clicked submit, a few minutes later you'll get an email with a redeem button, and once you click that redeem button, you'll have $500 in credits attached to your account. Now once that's done, you can verify that you have the credit on your account by coming back to the billing account and selecting the credits tab here. And here you can see the $500 credits attached to the account. I'm inside a different billing account. This is because this one already has the $500 associated with it. So I just want to show off how you can see that credit inside of a billing account. Now we're going to set up a project. So to do that, I'm going to select projects up here in the upper left, and I'm going to select the create project button. Now there's three options here. The first is the project name. You can give it whatever name you'd like. I'm going to call it GSQL Nuggets, so I know what it's for. That's a nice descriptive name. It's just going to be what's listed here on the page. The more important field is this one here, Project ID. Project ID has to be unique across the entire Google Cloud Platform spectrum. Anyone who has a Google Cloud Platform project has a unique ID. So it provides one here for you, and you can click this little button to change it. I'm going to choose Sunlit Pipe 768. You can also overwrite it with any kind of unique ID that you might remember a little bit easier. Then once you've done that, you pick your billing account down here. I'm going to choose GSQL billing. Click create, and after a few minutes, it's going to create a new project for me. Once it's done that, it's going to bring me right to the project dashboard. I can see my entire Google Cloud Platform service offering inside of this project, Sunlit Pipe 768. Here's my source code tools, my compute tools, my networking tools, and of course my storage tools. What are we interested in? Cloud SQL. So assuming that your project is empty of any Cloud SQL instances like mine is, then the only option you're going to have here is to create a new instance. It's as easy as clicking this button. Once you've done that, you get a real simple instance creation screen. All I have to do is give it an instance ID. I'll call it my SQL instance. Choose a region. There's United States, European Union, and Asia. I'm going to leave it in the United States. And of course, that's going to impact your latency between any external connections, either from a client application or a user, and the database itself. And then you also choose a tier. If you pull down this option here, you can see the various tiers, the amount of RAM that you can get for your SQL instance. And of course, the CPU behind this RAM sort of scales up appropriately. So if you choose 8 gigabytes of RAM, you're going to get a lot more CPU power than if you choose, say, D0, which is what I'm going to choose here. D0, lowest tier, cheapest instance. Click save, and after a few minutes, I'm going to have a SQL instance being created right up here in the cloud. If I wait a few more minutes, that status will change to runnable, like you see it is now. Now, if you noticed back on the new instance page, there was a hide advanced options or show advanced options here. And I can expand that to get a few more options for creating my SQL instance inside of the web console UI here. For starters, I can choose my database version, 5.5 or 5.6. You see it says it's in preview. That's kind of Google's way of saying it's in beta. Maybe by the time you're watching this nugget, you'll be lucky and it'll be out of beta and a production version that you can choose other than 5.5. You can also set up your billing plan, preferred location. We'll talk about this in another nugget, how you can have it follow an engine app or a compute engine zone. And you can set when you want your backups to run, when you want the server to become active, how you want replication to work, if you need a reserved IP address, what authorized networks are authorized to see it, what authorized App Engine applications are able to see it, and any MySQL flags that you'd like to turn on. So, there are a lot of options right here in the Cloud Console UI for creating your new instances. Now, if we just take a moment to explore what else is available inside of the user interface, all you need to do is click on the hyperlinked instance name here on your Cloud SQL menu, and you can see a whole host of different options available for that particular instance. Up along the top, you can import and export databases to and from this SQL instance. You can restart it, you can delete it, create read replica. Down here in the Overview tab, you can see that we get a graph of storage used. No storage has been used yet, as well as a quick little listing of the properties of this particular SQL instance. There's a nice little handy link here, how to connect to your Cloud SQL instance. This is going to show me how to use some of the different APIs that are available in order to connect to this instance. I can also look at the operations, get a log of operations that are available, or under access control here, I can control access to this instance, including requesting a specific IP address, changing the root password, changing authorized networks, authorized App Engine applications, and setting up my SSL certificates. So all of this is available. It's easy to use and easy to understand right here in the console developer's user interface. Now, the next thing we want to take a look at is the command line interface, the Cloud SDK command line interface. And to do that, first we need to download and install that. So I'm going to open up a new tab here, and we're going to go to cloud.google.com whack SDK. Now under here, if I scroll down a little bit, I can see I've got an installation and quick start guide. I got one for Linux, Mac OS X. Here's one for Windows. You just download an executable. Here's an alternative methods that includes using Cygwin, or, this is pretty cool, installing from a Docker image. But we're on Mac OS X, so I'm going to grab this. And to install for Mac, all you have to do is paste this little command into your terminal window. Go ahead and run this bash command, and it's going to download and install the Cloud SDK for me. It's going to ask me about a couple of defaults. Sure, you can install it there. Yeah, it already exists. That's okay. Gotta say yes. We'll run install. Ask me if I want to help improve the Cloud SDK. Sure, I do. I'll let it go. And then once it's done, it will return me to my commands prompt with the Cloud SDK installed for me. Once that's complete, you may need to close and reopen your terminal window so that you get the updated path available. And if you just type gcloud-h, you can see a simple help menu pops up, and that ensures that you have the gcloud SDK installed properly. Now at this point, we need to do a couple of setup things first. The first thing we need to do is we need to authorize our desktop to access our project. Remember, our project is out on Google servers. It's in the cloud. And I need authorization to do anything with that project from this command line. So to do that, I'm just going to call gcloud auth login. And all this is going to do is pop open a browser window for me and give me a chance to authorize an account that I want to connect to. I'm going to go ahead and choose my GCP at cbtnuggets.com, since that's where my project is. And it's going to tell me, make sure that, hey, Google Cloud SDK, that's my desktop, is going to want to do these things inside of my project. I accept that. Now my desktop is validated for access to my Google Cloud project. And if I come over here to my terminal window, I can see, hey, saved application default credentials, I'm all set to go. Now another thing that it tells me to do is to make sure to set my current project. And this is something you really want to make sure you do. This is very important. Every command that you run from the command line, gcloud-config, is going to need a project to run those commands against. Well, if you don't want to type the project in every single time, what you can do is call gcloud-config set project, and then just pass in the project ID of the project that you want to use. Now remember, this is not the project name. This is the project ID. If I come back to my projects here, I'm not going to type GSQL Nuggets. I'm going to type Sunlit Pipe 768. That's my project ID. So Sunlit Pipe 768. I'm now configured to perform all my commands against that particular project. I can always perform a command against a different project simply by specifying the project when I run that exact command. Or if I want to change the project that I have default set up, I can always call gcloud config set project again, pass in a new ID, and then from that point forward, all of my commands will run against that project. So this is just like setting up a default for me, so I don't have to type it in every single time. So now we've got the gcloud SDK installed properly. We got our defaults set up, so we're authorized to sign in. We're performing our work against the correct project. We can start calling some really easy gcloud commands. Let's take a look at gcloud SQL instances list. That sounds fairly self-explanatory, right? SQL instances list. I want to get a list of all my MySQL instances that I have outside in this project. Go ahead and enter, and you can see it comes right back with a list of just the, in this case, one instance that we have set up so far, MySQL instance. It tells me what region it's in, what tier it is. The address is blank because we didn't set up an address for it, and its current status. It's runnable. If we were to make more instances, they would show up here in this list. Let's go ahead and give that a whirl. I'm going to call gcloud SQL instances create. And I'm just going to give it a name. I'll call it another SQL instance. That's all I have to supply. Defaults are going to kick in for the rest of it, and you'll see it start creating a Cloud SQL instance. This takes a few minutes, but when we come back to it, we can see that it lists the details of that instance that we just created. And now if we call a gcloud SQL instances list again, I can see this time it's going to come back with both instances listed, another SQL instance and MySQL instance. One is D1, one is D0. Now that simple command used all defaults. With the gcloud command, you can always use -- help to get more verbose help for whatever command you're looking at. So if I call gcloud SQL instances create -- help, what I should get is a nice verbose help for all the different options that I could use when I call instances create. Because of course, all of the options that are available when I create an instance have to be available from this command line operation. So I can see here --tier or -t is going to let me set or choose the tier of the instance that I create. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So drop back to my command line, and I'm going to go ahead and call gcloud SQL instances create my third instance. Then I'm going to say -t D2. So now I'm creating a D2 tier instance. Go ahead and give it a few minutes, wait for it to finish, and when it does, I can see it listed, and I'm actually going to jump over here to my project inside of my Cloud Console. Look at Cloud SQL, and you can see all three instances that I've created, D0, 1, and D2. So the Developers Console, the Web UI, and the command line interface, the Google Cloud SDK, are two really great, easy tools that you and I can use to manage our instances, our MySQL instances. I find myself using them pretty interchangeably. The CLI interface can be a little bit daunting at first, but once you get the swing of it, it's actually pretty easy to use. It's easy to just hammer out a command, get what you need out of it, and move on to the next thing without having to navigate through all the menus inside of the web browser. Now the last thing we want to look at is the APIs that underlie all of this. And in order to get a good look at that, we're going to use something cool called the Google APIs Explorer. I'm just going to bring up the page here. It's developers.google.com/APIs-Explorer. And what this is going to show me is an explorer for all of the various APIs that we can use inside of the Google Cloud, and there are a lot of them. Specifically, I'm interested in the Cloud SQL Administration API. And when I select that, you can look at the different commands that are out here. They're going to look familiar. For instance, here's sql.instances.list. Hey, that's what we just called. If I go ahead and click that on here, it's going to let me call this API. The first thing I need to do is make sure that I'm authorized to do this. I have to authorize my browser. Go ahead and select those things and say authorize. So now I'm turned on. I'm already authorized. Choose the project that I want to do. That's going to be Sunlit Pipe 768. That's my project ID, remember. And I'm going to call execute. And when I do that and scroll down here, I can see that I got my request command. So this is what the API request looked like in order to run that command. And then down below that, I've got my response. And you can see that the JSON response returned with all of my different instances listed out in JSON. So you have this beautiful way of not only seeing what API commands are available out there for you, what they look like, but also executing them so you can see them in action and see how they work. That concludes this demonstration on getting started with Google Cloud SQL. Just to recap, we took a look at how we can create a project underneath our Google account, enable billing on that project, and we applied some free starter credits so that we could get up and running with it. Then we took a look at how to interface with our project using both the web UI as well as the command line interface. Finally, we finished with a look at the APIs Explorer so we could start to get our head around how the RESTful API communicates with Google Cloud SQL. I hope this has been informative for you. I'd like to thank you for viewing.